You sit down on this table 3 days before the exam and you just look at your notes and go back to your book, and in 3 days, like, I know that students
also
like
do have a good result,
during
but
the
especially
do not fail the exam, because for students this is the first thing. I don't want to fail the exam, or I feel very stressed because I'm going to fail. I wish somebody told me that when I was a student. It felt like very wrong to fail an exam.
Hello,
I don't know, guys. I hope you had a good start into the new year, and definitely I hope that it will be a successful year for each of you. Today I want to present the challenge that I took for myself, and I hope that will be useful for you. I know that January is a month before the exams, so definitely the topic will be something about related education and related student life. And I took a 30-day challenge to produce 30 videos, which means that we will have every day one video when I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks how to deal with 1 month before the exams, and how to be successful on the day of the exam, and to be less stressed and to be relaxed. And yeah, I wish for all of you a relaxed year, because there have been a lot of excitement here and there, and excitement is not always a good feeling. So if you I hope for each of us to have a relaxed year and to do good works. And now today I just want to share with you some tips and tricks, because you are still on time to prepare for your exams. And you can also use some holidays, some hours during your holidays to work if you feel that you are a bit behind with your work and your preparation and your studies. So I just wanted to start to let you know how to manage this little time that you have already, and to be successful at the end, because that's the results. Well, the journey is important, but definitely the results are what in general people value, because that's what will be written at the end at your transcript of records. And I wanted to start by saying that first of all, I know that being a student, it's the most beautiful time in your life, but also complicated. Sometimes it feels like a mess. Sometimes it feels very relaxed and beautiful. But in general, it's a time when you start getting used with working, being consistent. But it's not for everybody the case to be consistent. Not everybody can be consistent. And I just wanted to say that I want to talk also for those that have been consistent, and for those who couldn't be consistent while studying during this semester, and now feel like, oh no, I'm going to fail all my exams. I would say that you are still in time, but I hope that you did something during this time. What do I mean? First of all, I would say that the key of success at your studies is by being present, by showing up, by being there, by being listening, but also being an active listener. I'm going to explain little by little all the concepts that I said. With show up and being there, I mean that I hope you followed some of your classes, but even if you didn't, you are still in time. You are still 1 month before the exams, and you can do so. What do I mean? It's very important to be present in class. It's very important to listen to the professors while they explain the lessons. Why? Because, you learn something by just being there. You listen, and the information for you is not like something just to read and to try to understand what is written in the book. It's something that you have listened, explained by somebody. And now, if you go back and check those lections or reading that chapter in the book, you'd be able to understand much better. And in a very short period of time. That's the key point. And another key point is to take notes. While in class, it's very important to take notes, because even if you didn't have time to go back day after day when you have that lecture and to read there, to repeat what you learned the day before or the day or a week before, if you have written something, it means that you can go back to those lections and you can link, your memory can bring back what you have listened if you were actively listening, because all the time I say don't just listen, but be an active listener. Even if you don't ask questions loud to the professors, it's very important just to ask question yourself, to question the information that you get, no matter from which subject. Because by building questions, you build a structure of knowledge which you start understanding it. And the moment that you have the information, that have some notes, I don't mean everything note down, but you have some notes, even if you are 4 days before the exam, even if you are 3 days before the exam, you have something where you can focus on. And definitely most of the time at the university, from my experience, in the exam, it's most of the time, but even in some other times, there are some parts in the exam that have been explained in class, which means by being present, you have built some knowledge, and by having some notes, you can go back and look at them, and you can focus on 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 concepts. And by focusing in 6 concepts, it means that 1 or 2 of the tasks in the exam may be from those points, which means you are prepared for something. At least you do not fail the exam. But if you took some more notes and if you are really present in the class, I can say that you are much more prepared than somebody who never came to class. I know that there are people who have the sense of understanding the information even by not having somebody to explain them, but not each of us can be like that. From my experience during my university studies, I felt that because most of the time I was present, but there were subjects maybe that I loved something more and I wanted to do an extra hour on that seminar than going to this other seminar. And I was conscious by doing that choice that I want to focus on my studies more on this direction than in that direction. And I have understood the difference between being present and not being present 100%. It's a big deal by showing up in class. It's a big deal also, I think, it's a respect for the professor that does that job, that definitely should appreciate students showing up in class. And it's definitely a present that you do to yourself because you get prepared for that. You are prepared for what's coming. You sit down on this table 3 days before the exam and you just look at your notes and go back to your book, and in 3 days, like I know that students during the season of exams are most of the time in their table or somewhere in a coffee shop studying, and they spend, I can say that they can sleep 6 or 4 hours per day, not 100% of the time. So you have some time. And with this, I want to bring a story from a personal story in this conversation, because I just came to my mind and that comes often to my mind. I remember writing an email to a professor. I had to do a presentation and I was feeling like, oh no, I can't do this. I just felt anxious for what's coming, not because I was not prepared, but sometimes I questioned my abilities, and I felt the pressure of, oh no, maybe I won't be that perfect, I need some more time. And I wrote an email to this professor and I said, you know, I don't feel ready to do this presentation. Is there any other day that I can do that? Normally students doesn't do this kind of emails, but I don't know what made me write down this email and send it to the professor. And I'm very happy that I did, because I learned a very important lesson. The professor replied to me, you know what? You have still 24 hours and 5 minutes, 26 hours and 5 minutes till the presentation comes, and I believe that you can prepare it in this little time, but there is no other option of date. So he didn't put me down. He gave me the power of believing that I was able to do that, and I did that, and I was successful. It's not about the time. We sometimes say, oh no, I didn't prepare long ago and now I don't have time, and let's give up on this, and I can't do this. It's very important to not give up. It's very important to when that little time that you have, to use it in the right way, so you can do something, and maybe you can even get a very good grade. Another point where I want to stop by is consistency. As I said in the beginning, it's not for everybody. I know that some people learn pretty fast and some people need some more time. For those who need more time, I believe that consistency is very good, and definitely consistency pays off. Consistency makes you feel like the leader, like you have all the knowledge, and you feel that I can't really find, because I feel it, like how it feels when you are consistent and you have learned regularly, and it's a point when you have the right knowledge for the exam and you don't really feel any worry. Even that in during the exams, I always felt worried for, I don't know for which reason, even when I was really prepared. And when I felt that, and sometimes when I felt that, I know everything about this subject, and then I went to the exam and I feel blocked because, oh no, maybe I can't do everything right on this exam, and I felt blocked. I felt that twice in my life. So it's not even good to go like, I know everything, but I am prepared, and I know that I am not going to fail this exam. I know that I can be very successful in this exam. I know that I can get a very good grade. Consistency in this case helps. As I said, this includes showing up in class and following the lectures one by one. Even when you lose any of them, try to, students, I know that sometimes they are a bit, don't want to share, because they say that I was in class and you were not in class, and I don't give you the lecture or the notes that I took from the lecture or seminar. But still, I think that helping each other, I learned this from my stays abroad, it's very important to share and to support each other. There is a place on this planet for everybody to work, to study, to be successful, and to be valued. If we share with each other and if we are more kind with each other, definitely this would make us feel good to ourselves. I don't mean, I mean before the exams and while you are studying. Consistency and taking notes during being like, taking notes, showing up, taking notes, reading, repeating those knowledge and reading based on that week after week, and I don't know, day after day. It depends, because there are several subjects in school. When it comes to exam times, you are just prepared and you just have to look back, a brief look into your knowledge that you got, and you can get a good grade. But also in the other time when you are not really prepared, and because this doesn't happen only I don't like to make a separation between bad and good student, but to everybody of us could have happened that once in one subject, two subjects, we were not that prepared compared to some other subjects, because this is linked also with our passion, what interests us more. It's normal to have more interest in one subject, and I think it should be respected to have more interest on something than in something else. And this also we do not feel comfortable on the way how somebody explains the lectures and somebody else. While during my university years, I felt that I understood better some professors and I didn't understood that good some other professors, but that doesn't make good. Another thing is that for me personally, there are no good and bad professors. There are just the way how the methodology that they use and what fits us better. Because I remember saying for one professor, I just don't understand, and somebody else said to me, it's everything all right with this professor. And while I was speaking good for another one, the other one said, no, that's not a good one. So I felt that, this made me believe that there are no good and bad. But again, coming back to the discussion that we are having, to our topic for today, I would say that it's very important to stress the two key points that I said: this consistency and showing up, being there, being in class. Another thing is taking notes. And the last one that I want to stop is it's definitely very important to not think that you can cover everything in 3 or 5 days before the exam. It's definitely very important to understand that in those days, if you want to also to have a good results, but especially to not fail the exam, because for students this is the first thing. I don't want to fail the exam, or I feel very stressed because I'm going to fail. No. Even if you fail, still there are other options. It's not the end of the world. I wish somebody told me that when I was a student. It felt like very wrong to fail an exam. I don't know why I felt in that way, but I don't think that is the end of the world. I took the exams even when I was not 100% prepared. I took a bad grade and then I gave it for the second time, and that was very successful because I learned. But just failing an exam for me, it was a big deal. It's not the end of the world, guys, But and now coming to the end of this, I would say that some days before the exam, you just need to focus to key concepts that you took notes while you were in class. You should just my suggestion, everybody have their methodology of learning and doing stuff, and you have to focus on, because what's have been mentioned often is definitely something that can be, I would not say should be, but can be in the exam. And so focus on those key points that you have listened often, or you listened often, and you may have a feeling that something like that similar can be in the exam, because definitely it may not be something that was solved in class or a question that was discussed in class. To me, it have happened that there were no question discussed in class, but you still have something, you have the background, you have a ground of knowledge on that task, and then you can solve it. I think that general knowledge on a subject are very important. And in a beautiful way, you can manage to get some point on the exam by having some general knowledge, some background knowledge. Well, I am not sure about natural sciences because I don't have the knowledge on natural sciences, but still, if there is any theoretical question, you can manage. By having some general knowledge, by having a broad background on reading from different subjects, you can just link something together and give an answer. For instance, I remember once when I had a question that I felt really, really bad when I saw the paper of my exam, and I said to the teacher, to the professor, I don't think that this have been discussed in class. And she didn't give a very good answer to this. And I was like, okay, she considers me a very bad student, and I felt very bad and felt very angry with what I listened. And I started thinking on that question, and I really gave an excellent, the teacher was amazed and told me, wow, I'm amazed from your answer. It was the same professor that told me that, if you want a bad grade, like a 5 or a 6, you can just write something else, whatever you want to write, but don't write. But I can change the question. I really included and use my logic. Sometimes logic works. That's why I say that it's very important to have to use that general knowledge, because during university you get knowledge in different subjects, to bring those knowledge together. That's why I said to be an active listener, to ask questions, even by yourself, or with your friends that you study together, or to the professor if you don't understand something, because that helps you to build a ground of knowledge which will help you through your journey of studies, exams, but above all in your professional life. Because think of your exams, think of your studies as your future. Like, you are going to deal in your life with some of the knowledge that you are getting to the university, because definitely not everything that we learn, not all the subjects are important at the end, but there are something that interests us more, or something that the job will present, because sometimes it's not always the case, is that it's us that choose, but sometimes also the work that is given to us requires several skills or knowledge. So it's very important to see your studies as your future, and not to think, how am I going to pass this exam, but also to get some knowledge that will be useful for you, to build that ground of knowledge, and to have not very big difficulties, because definitely then practice makes it better when you go out in the job market. But yeah, it's very important, I think, to be a bit positive also for those exams and for those studies, and to see a future on them. Yeah, that's all that I wanted to share today. Now, see you tomorrow. Bye.